Hey, thanks for making it to part 3. Don't want to hold up the intro for too long, but I saved most of the more adult and least general audience-friendly movies for the latter half of this series, so keep that in mind if you plan on checking these out yourself. But yeah, let's go.
Why did you stop?
Let's smoke a cigarette. I can't smoke driving.
The night Evelyn came out of her grave has one of the more obvious Italian names on this box set, up there with other verbose titles like The Bird with the Crystal Plumage, Death Laid an Egg, and Your Vice is a Locked Room and Only I Have the Key. The poster for this one is hilarious.
Stop it. Put that whip down and put those boots on.
Alan here laments the death of his previous fling Evelyn, which he's pretty much confirmed to be responsible for because of his medieval interests. And he just won't stop offing other redheads too. It's a real problem.
You should get married again. It's the best thing you can do.
It's actually the worst thing he could do, but he decides to get married anyways. The print on this set is pretty rancid if it wasn't obvious already. Whenever a woman's chest is out, there's a lot of awkward cutting that I think was an attempt to show as little as possible, but it doesn't hide anything, you can still see them. There's a Blu-ray for this, but I'm not going to pretend like I own it. The Patreon money goes towards rent.
I want you to come now.
This one comes out swinging, starting with a frantic chase scene that gives way to a moody and occasionally insane thriller. It's not always exciting, it's definitely exploitative and subject to a lot of cliched time-wasting measures many B-movies take, but it succeeds at being chilling when it needs to be, helped in no small part by a pleasant yet eerie score from Bruno Nicolai. There's even a twist at the last second that you can probably see coming, but it's violent and crazy enough to be worth seeing. Light recommendation if you enjoy Italian horror and abrupt endings.
Oh, please!
You ever think when the hearse rolls by that someday you are going to die?
In a deeply unfortunate turn of events, The Undertaker and His Pals is a comedy.
You may call me Miss Poultry.
Poultry? As in barnyard?
There's a trio of murder bikers who go around town chopping off people's limbs to serve in a dingy diner. It's not a very sustainable business model for them, but it is for the secret antagonist funeral home guy. Most of the jokes don't really land for me. The movie thinks a pair of twins being named Thursday and Friday and all the associated wordplay is the peak of comedy, but it's so weird and randomly violent that it's at the very least always keeping me guessing about what strange gag they have planned next. One of the most bewildering jokes happens early. The first victim has a picture of this guy in her house, and when she's getting murdered, it reacts to it. This is the kind of joke that would be in The Naked Gun, and I don't know, I kinda liked it.
Now that we have that settled, do I get the job?
Did the editor trip or something? Why was there a cut? Overall, the movie is cheap, but occasionally funny 1960s junk. It's only an hour long, so it's not that much of a time investment. I think I lost a couple brain cells watching it, but that's something that happens whether I watch a bad movie or not.
Well, there's some talk that this house is haunted.
Oh, stop that nonsense. Only ignorant people believe that foolishness.
The Oval Portrait from the early 70s is another Edgar Allan Poe story stretched into the runtime of a movie. This time they only had a whopping 2 pages to work with. Woe be upon you. White woman jump scare. The original short story was about a painter who spent so long on the portrait of his wife that she died by the time he finished. Here's another white woman jump scare. They changed the story quite a bit. The painter was a Civil War soldier, and the subject of the painting died waiting for him to come back, so he dug up her corpse and used it for a very ironic still life painting. The source material is being visibly stretched to its limit, all the while not being very scary.
She's gone because of you. Why'd you have to come here?
The editing is also strange. They use triple cuts to transition to the next scene instead of fading in or cutting like a normal movie.
We'll call it the Oval Portrait.
Right back up.
It's another bad horror movie where all potential entertainment happens in the last 10 minutes and sitting through it to get there isn't worth it. Next. Here's another shockingly high-profile movie in this collection. House by the Cemetery is a 1981 Italian movie from director Lucio Fulci, known in the late 70s and early 80s for very graphic, very quirky horror movies. They're definitely not for everyone, especially not the squeamish. I can't even show half the stuff that's in these movies, including this one. But Fulci's work, more than anything, excels at conveying a sense of doom. Nobody's gonna make it out of one of his stories alive, and the atmosphere created through the slow pacing and music reflect that. House by the Cemetery is the third part of Fulci's Gates of Hell trilogy, the other two spots filled by City of the Living Dead and The Beyond. This is also the least good of the trilogy, and that's probably why it was available for a cheap box set.
Well, sure, I can deal with a graveyard next door, but to live with a tomb in your hallway?
It's just something you'll have to get used to.
The plot revolves around the titular house by the cemetery, and people just can't stop dying in it. It's a real problem. One of the house's previous owners was a man named Dr. Freudstein.
It's pronounced Frankenstein.
And it turns out he never left in spirit. Or something. The house's new residents are the next on the chopping block, but the kid of the family, Bob, is talking to a ghost girl who's trying to warn him. She doesn't do a very good job.
No, Bob. Don't go inside. I want you not to.
And oh boy, Bob.
My name is Bob.
I'm pressed to remember a live-action dub of anything where the kid voice acting doesn't sound weird. The character himself is such an odd addition. This is a violent movie. A very violent movie.
Somebody help me! Okay, Yogi, we've got to go rescue Anne.
This is true for his other movies too, but you're not gonna get a fully fleshed out story in a Fulci flick. The characters get the fleshing out treatment, but in a different way. These are movies carried by violent deaths and vibes. Even his more well-regarded movies aren't gonna be winning any screenplay awards for their structural brilliance. Scene of people talking, death. Scene of people talking, death. Scene of people talking, the most violent death scene you've ever seen, etc. What plot is there is often ridiculous.
He needs human victims to renew his cells. It's how he stays alive.
Though what makes House by the Cemetery lesser is how it's not as absurd as the rest of his movies. Outside of some delightful absurdity like the bat attack scene, House by the Cemetery just isn't that exciting on a scene-by-scene basis.
Nothing.
It still has that dreamlike, some would say bad, quality to it from the weird dubbing and music. But unlike The Beyond and City of the Living Dead or even Zombie 2, it's much more drab on a visual level. Part of that is the setting. It's supposed to be this very gray and brown location. But outside of some decent camera work from returning cinematographer Sergio Salvati, it's not as visually interesting as The Beyond or City. The closest House gets to being effectively disturbing without resorting to gore is the scene at the end where Bob is trapped in a room with Freudstein. I take it back a little because, it's not a fun kind of upsetting, and I know this is supposed to be a horror movie and that mean-spiritedness comes with the territory, but this doesn't hit the same way a splinter going into someone's eyeball does, or someone barfing up their guts. That's gross and absurd. This is just kind of sad. The movie ending with a pretentious quote doesn't help. Still, House by the Cemetery is an alright watch. I liked some of the camera work. The title theme is delightful. If I'm gonna remember this movie for anything, it'll be those death scenes. And Bob. Overall, I would rather have more movies like this in these collections. They give me more to talk about than crap from the 40s made to fill a double bill.
What are you doing?
I made coffee.
Oh.
Yeah, shit. Give me a second. Hello?
Don't answer the phone.
Jeez, you could have told us that sooner. The credits aren't even over and this lady didn't follow the rules. This is a cut-and-dry slasher movie plot about a Vietnam veteran turned psychosexual who gets a little too excited murderizing women. What's a little interesting this time is that we know who the killer is from the very start, with no effort being made to hide his identity. It's the setup of Columbo, but without the charismatic lead detective, and it's generally really unpleasant. So it's actually nothing like Columbo.
She tears off her underwear and stuffs it in her mouth.
If there's one noteworthy thing about this turkey, it's Nicholas Worth's bizarre performance as the killer. The character is a violent bigot trying way too hard to be funny. It's like watching a Redditor become a serial killer. The movie's music is pretty fun, even if it doesn't exactly instill terror or tension. It sounds like a video game. There are ways to make a horror movie like this effective and scary, but the approach here doesn't do it for me. When the plot is just an endless parade of women getting by a pervert, it just feels gross to watch.
Did you get a shot at that breast?
Which one?
She's got two, you know.
He's talking about a corpse, for the record. Don't Answer the Phone is a quirky movie, neither succeeding at being shocking or funny, but ultimately having enough of a weird personality to be worth pointing at and saying, hey, if you want to see a worse version of Maniac, here you go. Take it or leave it. It makes me want to take a cold shower.
In 2 minutes, I'm gonna break both your legs.
Bloody Pit of Horror. It's an amazing title for a super sleazy movie. We're back in the land of Italy, a roaming band of horror movie characters, specifically a bunch of models and their photographers, do what horror movie characters do and stay the night at a spooky castle.
These uninhabited castles always have their family skeleton.
There's this legend of an evil executioner and, well, what do you know, there he is. That's all there is to this. The executioner walks around shirtless, and extra attention is given to the torture scenes with the women.
Deep, dark fantasies.
Yeah, this movie was made for a certain audience. That audience not really being me.
We get paid. Why should you care?
The movie makes no effort to hide that the Crimson Executioner is actually the owner of the castle, obsessed with the legend of the Executioner and the Iron Maiden he was entombed in, which looks straight out of a school play. It turns out one of the models is the owner's ex, and that's apparently enough justification to let the group stay the night and get rid of them. Oh, wow, they probably did that stunt with the boiling water getting kicked over for real. They had no chill in the 60s.
Now you'll be punished for your lechery.
This is another one that takes a while to get going. At worst it's boring and unsexy, and at best it's enjoyably schlock. My favorite scene being one where this guy tries to save a girl tied up in a spiderweb jigsaw trap. I love it, it's silly. If the movie had more ridiculous traps like this, and stilted action choreography, and less medieval foreplay, it'd be a solid recommendation from me. There's some intentional comedy in this movie too, and your mileage may vary on that.
Now, Nancy, honey, give me the feeling of a cat. You know what I mean. Meow.
I hope I don't make Bloody Pit of Horror sound more extreme than it is, because it's really not. It's so badly executed, haha, that it's got a very low chance of offending or exciting. It's more funny than anything. Take my word for it. I still don't think I can show a lot of the finale without YouTube attacking me.
What are you doing here?
I want to see your master right away.
No, he doesn't want to see anybody.
It's urgent that I see him no matter what, understand?
I said you can't see him.
Keep My Grave Open. People keep going to this house owned by crazy lady Leslie, whose evil brother Kevin keeps killing them. Thing is, Kevin doesn't exist. It turns out Leslie is her brother. It's a psycho knockoff with a nonsensical ending. She also loves her hypothetical brother maybe a little too much. So much so that she does it with nothing. You can figure out what it is using context clues. And we're forced to see it. It's a long unbroken shot. It goes on for at least a minute. This plot is the opposite of riveting. There's also a ranch assistant who wants to buy her horse, and that whole thing was destined to go nowhere. It's from the director of Don't Look in the Basement, a movie I talked about in the Mad Scientist special, which I remember liking for its sweaty, low-budget charm. Try as I might, I can't extend the same love to this one. I can try, though. I do love this opening title sequence. The music sets a somber yet calming mood, which juxtaposes it against the first kill. This is good stuff. There are some good match cuts in this movie too. It keeps things sporadically interesting on a visual level because, oh boy, this is another agonizingly slow one. It's a lot of this. There's almost an interesting examination of gender for the time. It takes the twist from the end of Psycho and almost makes an effort to explore the implications. But the movie is more interested in the exploitative and taboo aspect of her pretending to be her own brother, who she is already in love with. And it's just weird for the sake of being weird. Keep My Grave Open has potential as a cult movie, but I personally don't get anything out of it. The kills are unremarkable, and the execution on its premise even more so.
The least you could have done was bury them for me.
It happened at Nightmare Inn. What happened at Nightmare Inn?
You have the cheek to ask?
A different movie, actually. The version on this box set is 13 minutes shorter than the original release titled A Candle for the Devil, which has a lot more boobs. Repulsed by those boobs, one of two staunchly religious innkeepers removes the guest who had them. Like a shark getting a taste for blood, she gets it in her head that this is what God wants and they should get rid of more, which is good timing because it's spring break. The sister of the first victim spends the rest of the movie snooping around to figure out what the audience already knows. Also, plot twist, one of the innkeepers has a fling, which goes against her crazier sister's beliefs. Yeah, there are themes of religion versus desire and all of that risque stuff. Its alleged appeal is in how blasphemous the situations it creates are to the ideologies of the innkeepers. I don't get anything out of it. The innkeepers aren't interesting enough characters to explore beyond what I laid out, and the movie itself isn't really scary or creepy at any point.
I think you're being very unfair, and I don't like the way you're always criticizing people.
Maybe so, but what else can I say? I thought it was boring.
Leave the village! Go away!
Point of Terror is... Okay, what's going on here? Yeah, the movie just starts with this guy in a bad Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared cosplay shredding up a stage in an abstract room. Oh my god. Everyone mumbles their dialogue, so I figured most of this out visually. So this guy named Tony is a performer at a club, and he hooks up with a hot record executive. They're both cheating. She has a husband and he has a girlfriend. This is starting to sound like a bad soap opera. It takes 46 minutes to get to this part because half the movie up till now has been singing and kissing, but she drowns her husband. This leads to an even more unhappy relationship with Tony, who then sleeps with her daughter, and yeah, wow, this got uncomfortable.
Money! Money makes me class!
The acting here is mostly solid, Peter Carpenter especially. The problem is that I can't make out half the dialogue. Audio is a consistent problem. Whoever did the remaster on this print messed up the stereo and it sounds like this. It's about as bad as the Shout Factory remaster of Ultraman Leo, to force some of my interests into this. But yeah, the point of Terror is bitter, shitty melodrama. Nobody's likable, and it ends with the same awful cop-out as the Telltale Heart adaptation. There's so little happening and so much atmospheric lounge music filling the soundtrack that I came to a realization halfway through. This movie probably rips if you're high. That said, there are less miserable things to get high to. Double exposure, or multiple exposure, is the superimposition of two or more exposures to create a single image, and double exposure has a corresponding meaning in respect of two images. The exposure values may or may not be identical to each other. It's also the name of a 1982 slasher movie, where a seedy magazine photographer is convinced he's blacking out and sending hookers to the Shadow Realm. The opening scene is very disarming. Less than 2 minutes in, a sting operation goes wrong, and the brutality of the first kill caught me off guard. It sets an intense and transgressive atmosphere that the movie only occasionally capitalizes on. This is peak 80s sleaze.
Sure do smell good.
The main character, Adrian, somehow bags a girl by being creepy and following her into a parking lot. It's a really unearned romance. There's a gay photographer, and they treat him how you'd expect from a movie made from this time.
Heterosexual.
The female characters have very little agency or self-preservation skills. The kills are cruel and sometimes unusual, like the one with the snake in the trash bag, but it's not entirely devoid of pathos. Adrian's time with his brother is convincingly warm thanks to the natural performances.
I dare death try and catch me. Grab me, you know what I mean?
What about your kids?
This is what helps Double Exposure stand above more cynical schlock like Don't Answer the Phone. The cast is very good, and they keep it watchable even during its most transgressive scenes. The worst thing about it, other than the homophobia and misogyny, is that it's too aimless. It's the typical problem I have with slasher movies. The stories are very loose because everything is structured around death scenes, and it leads to a lot of downtime. This scene of a character making coffee or whatever, it's not setting a scary mood, it's just dull. I am feeling a little more apologetic for this movie's flaws at the very least. Don't Answer the Phone did such a poor job with the same premise, it makes me appreciate this more. Not to overhype things, but when it's not a simple stab to the gut, the more creative kill scenes really are shocking in a pulpy, I can't look away sort of way. It's worth a shot. Once again, a very special shout out to top patrons: Swansea, Aotis, Gojira King, Iron Knight, Z-Bolt, Sammy Likes Toku, Lemon Boy, Adelaide, Tato Salad, Serix, Nerdy Gamer 556, Neon Yaminair, J King, Mech, Celis Rotessia, Greninja Zack, Old Metal Possum, Solid Lib, Kidorian, Scooter Jit, Mego Muddy, Lobotomy Blues, Cool Bell Zero, Eric Guzda, Janos Firewalker, Easterman, Manila Fan, Big Dumb Media, Jacob Hinch, Dude Bro, Alistair Gilmore, Seamus Kelly, Fujoshi Urinal, Milan Nguyen, Irrelevant 402, Heyam Mooney, Krizak53, Queer Kaiju, Chronicler Waba, Ryan Santa Cruz, Avok Robot, Godzilla Rich, It's God Z, An Actual Demetrodon, CMG, Red Commentary, and Marpzilla. Thank you all very much.